What is the best and worst tune in every Mario Party game? To answer that, we have to start with Mario Party 1, which has a very distinct bouncy vibe that shares some DNA with Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario, which came out a couple years later. And if I had to pick a favorite here, it is Everyone's a Superstar. I know people really like to comment about how much I like the credits themes, but I promise there will not be many in this video. This one really is just that good. It opens slow, almost like it's building up to something, which it of course is, and then quickly more instruments show up. Some winds come in, the melody gets warmer, and by the time it's fully going, it just has an amazing melody. There's even a Super Mario Bros. Theme mixed into the middle of it. The Nintendo 64 sound chip gives it this textured quality I really love, and it just reminds me so much of the Paper Mario era of Mario music, which is honestly one of my favorite eras. Say what you want about it being a credit track, but it's just amazing. Now for an honorable mention here, Tropical Island plays on Yoshi's Tropical Island. The very first board, which is a split island map where the bridges connecting the two halves can get rotated on you. The music is breezy and fun and has that tropical Mario flavor the series has kept coming back to for years. Nothing revolutionary, but just exactly what it needs to be. Then there's also Minigame Stadium, which I want to call out because it sounds like it was pulled directly out of Super Mario RPG. There's a whistle sound effects, some marimba, these overlapping layers that feel more alive than most of what's on the soundtrack. Every time I hear this, it makes me think of Super Mario RPG. Let me know in the comments if you agree. And of course, we also have to get to a worst, and it is going to be Rising Stars. It barely even feels like it's in a Mario game. It honestly sounds more like a Silent Hill game with its slow, hollow, and eerie sounds. It's not really much of a melody, and it just has this creepy atmosphere that's there for you. I didn't even remember this track existed until I pulled up the full OST for this video. I played Mario Party 1 quite a few times, but it's just not something I've remembered at all. Before I get to Mario Party 2, I just want to say this video is nothing but my own personal opinions. People always like to point out that a certain song not getting mentioned is criminal, but it's impossible to make everyone happy with all these picks since everyone has vastly different opinions. So I do just ask that you keep that in mind. Now I want to make a deal with you. If you don't agree with a single pick or honorable mention in this video, feel free to dislike it, but if you do, you gotta subscribe. Anyway, let's get to Mario Party 2, and this is the one where every character puts on a costume to match whatever board you're playing on. So you've got Mario in a cowboy hat, Wario in a pirate's costume, everyone fully committed to the bit. And of course the music does the same thing because each board has a much clearer identity than anything in the first game. And you can tell the composers are having fun with this one. The pirate ship sounds like a pirate ship. I know, crazy. The horror board sounds like a horror board. The western board, though, is my favorite in this game. Honestly, I gotta say it's one of my favorite board themes in the entire series. It's basically a rule that if there's a western level in a video game, there has to be a banjo. Mario Party 2 takes that and makes the banjo the whole personality. Like, you hear the plucking sound and it becomes a very central point of it, and I just love how it sounds here. But there's also horns and rhythm and this just warm farm-like feel to the whole mix on top of it. Does that make sense? It's just one of those tracks you don't appreciate until you're humming it 3 days later and have to stop thinking about where it came from. Now, one quick track worth mentioning is Spaceland. It just kind of has this mysterious sound that fits a spaceboard really well, and I just did want to mention it. And now for the worst, I'm going with Mysteryland. So while I like Spaceland that sounds a little mysterious, Mysteryland does not land with me. I just don't enjoy it. There's this like desert-like sparseness to it, and the melody doesn't really evolve into anything satisfying. It just loops and keeps you waiting for it to land somewhere, and it just doesn't. I'm sure there's gonna be people who do like this, but this just was not for me. Mario Party 3 is the last N64 entry, and honestly the best one musically. There's a lot of range here because you have your warm board themes, you have your unsettling themes, you have some high energy minigame stuff, and the floor is high enough that even my worst pick isn't actually bad. And also it's one I kind of blame on my own experience with this game, but I'll get to that soon. One of my favorite games growing up was Mario Party Advance, and I know people hate it, but I love the minigames. And I'm gonna pick Let's Get a Move On here. So this actually was an Advance also, and it's just in my memory from playing Advance so much. So I hadn't touched Mario Party 3 at that point, and I had no idea this track existed anywhere else. Then I finally went back and heard it, and my jaw dropped. The discovery feeling is a big part of why I love it, but even with that, this piece is just great on its own. It's just very urgent, keeps moving, and it's just perfect for exactly the kind of frantic minigame situations it was built for. Also, as I'm writing this, I've listened to it like 5 times on repeat. Another great piece is The Adventure Begins. You You actually might know it from Mario Star Scramble if you were playing Flash games on a school computer in like 2010. It has sounds that don't show up anywhere else in this OST. It sounds like whoever wrote it was just doing something completely different from the rest of it, but that doesn't make it any less catchy. Don't Hurry plays in several of the faster, more chaotic minigames. And has this slightly frantic energy that just fits. It's the kind of track you don't notice until it's gone, and then you realize it was just carrying that whole thing. Also keep this in mind because it actually does come back in Superstars. And the last of my 3 honorable mentions here, which honestly feels like too few, is Chilly Waters. So it's the board theme for a frozen, snow-covered board with this Christmas village kind of energy to it, and it's honestly like one of my favorite Christmas tracks. It just sounds like December to me, even if it's not intentionally made to sound like Christmas, but I'm sure plenty of you are going to agree with me on that. Now, like I said, I don't think there's any bad tracks in Mario Party 3, so this is less about the song being bad and more about my brain just permanently wiring it as the sound of losing. Big Trouble plays during some of the game's high-stakes moments. And to put it vaguely, in case you have no bad memories with it, every time it starts, I feel like something bad is going to happen. Is that the song's fault? Probably not, but I'm counting it anyway because it still just isn't my favorite here. Mario Party 4 is the GameCube debut, and the audio quality jump is immediately obvious. You actually hear the real instruments now, instead of N64 doing its best impression of them. The boards also get more interesting here too. I came to this game late, and somehow still have nostalgia for the music, which I don't really know why, maybe it's just how it sounds. And the best here for me is Toad's Midway Madness. So this is actually the first board in the game, and the music just immediately makes you feel like something good is about to happen. The melody has this like almost majestic quality to it that sounds timeless, like it's been around forever, and it floats up and then comes back down in this easy way that just somehow just feels nostalgic. I don't know how else to put it, but really just a fantastic track. You're the Star is another great piece here. And it just has that early 2000s video game sound. Just everything about it, the production, the energy, just the way the melody sounds, it just really hits me. And now for the worst tier, and this is a borderline jingle, and it's just long enough that I'm counting it. And it's the obvious pick because nothing else in the soundtrack is worth complaining about. Just something about the frequency of this just sounds slightly grating, and it doesn't really go anywhere either. Okay, so Mario Party E, and a lot of you probably don't even know this game exists, and I'm gonna be honest, I never played this, but I mean, it is a Mario Party game, and the OST is on YouTube. So for those of you who don't know, there was a device called an e-reader for the Game Boy Advance. It was like a little scanner attachment you could swipe cards through to make things happen. It was a very niche thing Nintendo released, and it is a cool concept, but almost no one had one. As you can imagine, the soundtrack here is very limited, but I do think there's a best, and I'm going with Balloon Burst. Basically sounds like a Game Boy doing its absolute best here. And it's alright, it's simple, it has an actual hook. It's probably the most recognizable one here. Not really much else to say about it. Solid track, but that's about it here. Okay, so I did not have very high expectations for a card game e-reader accessory from 2003, and Bolt from Boo is just my least favorite here. No melody, it just loops before you've had time to get bored of it, and the sounds just make it grating here. Most of you probably never heard this, and you're really not missing out on much. Mario Party 5 leans hard into a dream and space theme, and there's boards set inside actual nightmares, future dream worlds, and a toy box, and the music just runs with that. It's kind of like this carnival meets cosmic quality to a lot of it, and the GameCube hardware just lets everything sound fuller. The main theme here captures the whole vibe better than anything else on the soundtrack, so that's why I'm going with Everybody Party. It's the first thing you hear when you boot the game, and it just immediately tells you what you're in for. Just has this bright carnival sound, and then the piano comes in, which I always appreciate from Mario tracks. And underneath all that is your typical Mario Party sounds, like the bouncy percussion, the catchy melodies, just that general feeling that you probably know, but you can't really explain. Lots of toys play on Toy Dream. Board inside a literal toy box with oversized game pieces everywhere, and it has this just light, playful sound that just fits it perfectly. It's great background music. The worst one here, in my opinion, is Chase Bowser. So when Bowser shows up on a Mario Party board, the music should do something to warn you. This really doesn't warn me. I mean, it's slow and ominous and just this soft, meandering way that never goes anywhere. It's like you keep waiting for there to be something here and then it just doesn't happen. It's just not scary, it doesn't even make you feel urgent. It's just kind of there while Bowser does whatever terrible thing he's about to do. So overall, it just ends up feeling kind of boring. On to Mario Party 6, which introduced a day and night system where the board actually changes as the game goes on. Spaces move, new paths open, and the whole thing shifts. And also the music shifts with it, so you get more variety than you'd expect. I think people sleep on this one, and my worst pick is going to end up being something I actually like, so that kind of tells you how high the floor is here. But before we get to that, my favorite pick here is called Relaxed. Which is a very straight to the point title. The first time I heard this, I actually thought of Mario Kart. It's just something about like the tempo and the way the melody moves, and it kind of has that cruising energy. It's very airy and light, and I found myself humming it after I played it. Now, there were a couple that were actually really close here. The first one being Dark Path. So I'm normally not into the spooky Mario tracks because most of them just kind of feel depressing rather than fun. And I mean, that's to be expected, but when we're going off personal opinions of what I personally enjoy listening to, that's just typically not the genre I pick. But this one is the theme for the Dark Path course in Star Spirit mode, and it actually gets the balance right. Like, it has that creepy vibe about it at points, but it also just has a great melody, which keeps it from being just like an atmospheric piece. If more Haunted Mario music sounded like this, I think I would like it a lot better. And on the opposite end, we have Pumped Up as the worst track. It's called Pumped Up, and it does not pump you up. The energy is kind of flat and does not have a great melody. And look, I want to be clear that I don't actually dislike this song. Mario Party 6 just forced me to scrape the bottom of a very good barrel, and this is what I found down there. Mario Party Advance. I know I mentioned I really like this game. I know a lot of people don't, and I get why. Instead of being a proper multiplayer board game, you just wander around this little hub world called Shroom City, completing quests to unlock minigames. The soundtrack here sounds completely different from pretty much anything else in the series. It sounds a lot more compressed than anything else before, but for those of you who grew up with the GBA, it is still very charming. So for my best here, I'm just going with this one again because I just love it so much. It's, of course, Let's Get a Move On. I already told you this in Mario Party 3, but just something about this melody and hearing it here for the first time, I cannot imagine picking any other tune here. And also, I think I even like this better. Obviously, the Mario Party 3 version is going to sound a lot cleaner. It's going to have a lot more going on. I grew up with this game, and since this list is my own personal opinion, I gotta go with this. So even with my own nostalgia, I don't think this is a great soundtrack overall, and it was pretty easy for me to pick a worst one here. Horror Spot commits to sounding as unpleasant as a GBA can manage. And it has this screechy, dissonant quality to it that just has the wrong frequency and just grates the entire time. I've used that word like 3 times, but music that's grating typically is not very good. I can respect the dedication to the horror theme, but I just don't enjoy the result at all. Mario Party 7 is the travel around the world one because you've got a tropical resort, a windmill countryside, an ice palace, a neon city. The composers really leaned into each setting, which not every Mario Party game does this well, and I think like with 6, this deserves a lot more attention than it really gets. My favorite here is one of the minigame tracks called Keep It Up. And it sounds way more modern than it had any right to for a 2005 GameCube game. Really crisp audio, immediately fun melody, and it just keeps moving the whole way through. It actually reminds me a lot of Mario Party DS more than the other GameCube entries, even though this obviously did come first, which once I noticed I couldn't stop thinking about. Let me know in the comments if you hear that also. My honorable mention here is my second favorite song called Hail to the King. Shout out Avenged Sevenfold. Has a very punchy feel, and also while I did like this track, I also just really wanted an opportunity to bring up Avenged Sevenfold since I never get a chance to. My least favorite here is What's the Score? And something about it just sounds slightly off in a way I can't kind of pin down. Can never really figure out exactly why I don't like this, but nevertheless, it's my least favorite here. Now on to the Domainy era of Mario Party games, because this was my first Mario Party. I love Mario Party 8, it is one of my favorite childhood games, it's one of my favorite games ever. So as you can imagine, I love the soundtrack, I love the whole carnival vibe of it, it perfectly fits a Mario Party game. And when I came to pick a best here, I probably listened to this OST like 3 different times to just make sure I was confident in my pick. And I ended up going with Welcome to the Star Carnival. So you know exactly what's about to happen when the song starts, so it didn't play in that short snippet you just heard, but you probably heard Welcome to the Star Carnival from MC Ballyhoo in your head. And it is the main event of the game, and it sounds like the opening of an actual event. I just love this track. I don't know if I went into this without any nostalgia, if this would be my favorite, but I've just heard this so many times, and it just brings me so much joy every time, and that's kind of what you want from Mario Party music. So when it comes to honorable mentions here, I probably could have chosen like the entire soundtrack here, but I just decided to limit myself to one to keep myself from going on about this for like 10 minutes. But I'm gonna go with Koopa's Tycoon Town. And it's the board where you buy hotels and try to get rich while your friends get absolutely nothing. And the music is basically background music here. And I can't hear this without thinking of specific moments on that board that I've had. Like every time I play this game, this just gets stuck in my head. Picking a worst tier was extremely difficult, and I'm gonna go with pick the rules. You may be asking why I picked this because it is a fan favorite, and the answer is, I'm lying. Anyone who's seen my other videos like this knows I always have to include a rage bait pick for a second. But I'm gonna be honest, this was probably the hardest one to pick a rage bait pick because I feel like a lot of Mario Party songs aren't as well known as the main series tracks or the Mario RPGs or Mario Kart. But I know a lot of people, including myself, really love this one. The actual worst tier is the tutorial music. It's the one that plays to you while the game explains to you how to roll a dice, and if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this existed until I looked up the full OST for this video, and that's the whole review for this. Mario Party 8 might be my favorite Mario Party, but my favorite one ever was Mario Party DS. I actually talked about this as well as Mario Party 8 in other videos if you want to check those out. But when I was a kid, I had a DS, and this is where it started. So everything I'm saying about the soundtrack is going to be heavily influenced by that. I think even before listening to the OST though, I knew what I was going with. And it's another crazy match, which is the competitive minigame music. And it sounds exactly like what it's named. It's chaotic, it's exciting, great fast-paced melody, and you knew you were in for a good one when you heard this. I also do want to shout out Into the Fairy Tale because this one I probably associate with the game a little more. And I've always liked the dreamlike quality. That sounds exactly like its name, like a storybook. Just really love this one. Now I hate having to pick a worst tier, but it's going to be Diddy Needs Help. And first of all, I don't want to help Diddy. Second, this isn't like a minigame or board theme. It plays in the story cutscene where Donkey Kong literally turns to stone. So not only is the song boring, but it's a song Nintendo chose to score the moment where your friend gets petrified. It has that vague Donkey Kong jungle energy in the instrumentation, but it never does anything with it, and it loops almost immediately. Dishonorable mention to Down with Camping as well, and it plays in the cutscenes where you have to rescue a character called Koopa Crag. Basically has the same problem. It just sounds like something that was supposed to happen and didn't. And I don't know, it seems like a lot of Donkey Kong tracks seem to have that, like Jungle Parkway and Mario Kart 64. Mario Party 9 is the car game, and if you know, you know. Instead of moving around the board individually, everyone piles into a vehicle together and takes turns being the captain, which sounds fine on paper, but in practice just left a completely different game. People were not happy about this. I remember going to a friend's house when this game came out and just being like, what the is this? So I'm going to be upfront saying I'm not a big fan of this game, but I can give the composers a lot of credit here because it really is very high quality. My favorite here is Go Crazy. And it's hard to describe because on the surface it sounds light and almost calm, but then the percussion kicks in underneath and I realize there's actually a lot more going on. And the melody here keeps going in different directions, so it doesn't sound formulaic or anything like that. It just has like a really unique sound. And I think this actually has a lot more depth than most Mario Party minigame music. And trust me, in this game I try to look for any positives that I can find. Another positive is Don't Freeze. And it plays in some of the Ice theme minigames and has this crisp quality that just makes it one of my favorite Winter Mario songs. It's just a very light piece and doesn't sound like your generic snow level. If this played every time it snowed, maybe I would actually want it to snow more, being honest. The worst here was a very easy pick, and it's Run. It sounds like 3 different songs had a meeting and just couldn't agree on anything, but decided to move forward anyway. Like, sections come in and they don't build on each other, they just kind of hand it off to the next thing. The individual pieces aren't bad, but together they just kind of create like a musical chaos, but not in a good way. Island Tour is one of my least favorite games in the series because the boards are mostly linear races to a finish line instead of traditional maps, and that just takes even more strategy out of Mario Party, like what Mario Party 9 did. My dog also chewed the cartridge case for this one, which just makes it even funnier. I also do want to mention that Island Tour also has a track called 3 House. I mean, Fire Emblem 3 Houses came out 6 years later, so I guess this game was ahead of its time in some ways. The music here, though, I gotta say is not bad. The best one is an easy choice for me, it's Rocket Road. It contains a remix of Good Day Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy, and that's one of my favorite pieces of music in any game ever made. So the second I heard it, I knew this was my pick. It takes that Galaxy feel and also has something else. I definitely recommend giving this a listen to, because I didn't fully remember how it sounded for a long time until I listened to it again. So Island Tour's soundtrack is actually more consistent than I expected, and that's why I'm not going to go with the easy pick of Event, because it's basically a jingle and it feels a little bit like cheating. So I'm going to go with Battle King Bomb. and it has this techie mechanical sound with the choppy synth patterns that could work a little bit, but there's just not much melody. It's just not very interesting. It's like the musical equivalent of Paper Mario Color Splash, where it's just like mediocre at best. And not gonna lie, I went off script for that analogy, and I just want to be clear, I'm talking about the game itself and not Paper Mario Color Splash's soundtrack, which is actually fantastic. Mario Party 10 was my first day one Mario Party, which was a big deal for me at the time. The Bowser Party mode is the thing people remember here, and it's the one where one player gets a gamepad and plays as Bowser trying to actively ruin everyone else's run. It's a great idea, but it's not that great in practice, and the music here doesn't get talked enough about either. But like with 9, it does do a lot to smooth over what is a below average game in my opinion. My favorite here is called Here We Go 1, and it kicks in at the start of a match. A lot of people actually say it sounds like Super Mario Galaxy, and I could hear it a little bit. Something about the melody and the instrumentation that just has that same expansive feel. It's upbeat, but there's real movement behind it, and I don't know if that even makes sense what I'm saying, but it just manages to feel relaxing and energetic at the same time. So if you're one of the 5 people that had a Wii U and bought this game like me, there's a good chance you do remember this. I also want to mention introducing everyone. It's a staff credits theme, and it goes way harder than it needs to. Live band feel, there's a real swing, and there's a sax solo in the middle of it that I'm always going to notice because I played alto sax, and I feel like I mentioned this in every single music video, but I just love when Mario games have these sax solos. But now, hold up just a minute, and yeah, that's actually the name of this piece. It's literally just a beeping noise going back and forth, and that's pretty much a complete description of this track. It basically just exists to fill silence, and there's nothing I really think comes close to this. Alright, now we're in the final 5 frenzy with our final 5 games of this video, and if you're still watching and you agreed with any of my picks, be sure to subscribe. But anyway, Star Rush is the 3DS one where everyone moves at the same time instead of taking turns, and makes the thing go a whole lot faster, but also kind of removes a big part of Mario Party. A very weird entry, and the soundtrack is small, but I went back and listened to it for this video, and there were actually some things that surprised me. So Bowser's Space Race Theme 2 actually caught me off guard. There's a guitar in it that reminds me a lot of Bowser's Fury. It just makes you feel like something's actually at stake, and most Mario Party music is just happy to be in the background, but this one just really goes hard. My least favorite here is a mouthful. Mega Drybone's Femur Fever Theme 1, and I had to record that like 3 different times. It's an incredible name for a song, and the music does not live up to it. It's vaguely ominous, just sitting at a low frequency the whole time, and yeah, that's about all I have to say about this. The Top 100 is the 3DS game that collected 100 minigames from across the series and presented them as the greatest hits package. Most of the music is borrowed from older games, so I'm only going to look at what's original here, which narrows it down fast because there's really not that much. Out of the original tracks here, the one that stands out is Begin the Minigame Match. And the strings in here sound fantastic. It's a very sharp track that feels a lot more than just filler music between rounds. It is short, but it actually makes you want to play, which for a game that is essentially a clip show of the franchise's greatest hits is more than you'd expect from an original track. Another easy choice for my least favorite here, it is You Did It. No hook, no moment where it actually sounds like you accomplished anything, and it's just very underwhelming. When Super Mario Party came out in 2018, it was the first one in a while where I actually felt like the series kind of remembered what it was. It wasn't my favorite game, but individual movement was back, real boards were back, the car finally retired. People did complain about the board count, and that was a totally fair criticism, but at least a lot of the fundamentals were back. The music was good from day one though, and a few of these tracks are up there with anything in the franchise. My pick here for my favorite is Mega Fruit Paradise 2. Which is the homestretch variant that kicks in during the last 5 turns of the Mega Fruit Paradise board. That's the Tropical Fruit Island, the one with the bridges that can collapse on you. What I love about it is that it doesn't insist upon itself at all. There's no big moment, there's no flex. It just has this fun melody that floats along. There's a marimba here, and it just fits that whole Fruit Island aesthetic perfectly. Before I get to the worst, I also have an honorable mention here for Nighttime Decision. Probably the one I associate most with this game because it has this electronic synth, but there's also a really good melody, which I've said about 30 times in this video. And you might not even catch it the first time, but the more I listen to it, the more I like it. The worst here is the easiest call of this video for me. It's Looking for Love. It runs for nearly a minute and a half, and here's what happens. Simple melody plays, it speeds up slightly, it plays again, changes briefly, reverts, and then you wait. Like that's it, that's the whole song. I really tried to think of more to explain about it, but I just personally did not find it satisfying to listen to at all. I don't know who named this Looking for Love, because if you're looking for love while this is in the background, you might just be alone for a while. I really love Mario Party Superstars, and it's the first game in a long time that I thought was a fantastic game in the series. 5 classic boards, 100 minigames, the music fully remastered. The boards they picked are Yoshi's Tropical Island, Peach's Birthday Cake, Spaceland, Horrorland, and Woody Woods. And that's already a strong lineup. You can even toggle between the classic N64 versions and the new arrangements if you want to hear the difference. And that's just a really nice touch here. I'm going to count old picks as well here, since I didn't do that for Mario Party, the top 100. And also because I just like the music here better and I really wanted to talk about some of these. So my favorite here is the Mario Party 3 main theme. And it was already one of the best in the franchise, but this is just even better. Just the fuller instrumentation, a lot cleaner sound, and just gives the original the production it always deserved. Everything that's better here was already in the composition, and this version being on the Switch, of course, just has so much more it can do. I'm going to pick 3 honorable mentions here. So there's Don't Hurry that comes back as a remix. If you liked it in Mario Party 3, this one is even better, just like with the main theme. Horrorland Night Homestretch is scarier than the original Horrorland Night music. And I do mean that as a compliment. Like, there was tension in the original, but I feel like this one actually delivers, and it has that creeping quality that makes the board feel already unsettling. It also is pretty enjoyable to listen to. Then Woody Woods, which I mentioned earlier in the video. Just a great board theme. As you can tell, I really like the Nintendo 64 Mario Party music. With that being said though, there is a track I don't like, and I talked about Horrorland Night Homestretch, but I don't really like Horrorland Event Track, and it's just one that I want to skip past. Not really bad, and any other Mario Party would be totally fine, but next to all the fantastic songs here, I had to pick this one. And now we're on to Jamboree, the most recent game, unless you want to count Jamboree Switch 2 Edition. Honestly, I think this has one of the best soundtracks in the franchise. There's barely a weak track in the whole thing, and the standouts are some of the best music Mario Party's ever produced, and even the stuff I normally skip past is just good here. Picking a worst here was very difficult, but before we get to that, my favorite here is main theme. There's a sax solo in it, so, I mean, what else do I need to say? Builds the whole way through, has different sections that feel distinct, and you can listen to this for a while with how much variation there is. Let's Go Lightly is actually a track that originally appeared in Mario Party 1, and it plays in Bobsled Run and Platform Peril. And it sounds even better here. Westernland 2 Homestretch is what plays in the final stretch of the Westernland board. When everyone's just panicking if they're not winning. The homestretch version of board themes just always hits different because of context, and this one just sounds the best. Probably my favorite use of the Westernland sound in the whole series, and it does have some real competition going back to Mario Party 2. My least favorite here is probably one of my favorite least favorites, and it's Item Minigame. So I actually do like this, and I just have to put it here because an average song in this game means that it's one of the worst just with how high quality it is. It does its job fine, it just happens to be next to some of the best music Mario Party's ever made. And if that's the worst thing you could say about the soundtrack, then this game's doing a great job. And that is the best and worst track in every Mario Party game. And remember, if you agreed with any best or worst picks or any honorable mentions, you gotta subscribe. If you didn't agree with a single thing I said in this video, feel free to dislike. And I just want to say, don't take this list too seriously. Think about how many songs there are here and how many games. It's impossible to make every single person happy, so there's no one correct list, but I know someone's probably already commented saying that there is, or that I have terrible taste or whatever. But I do want to know your favorite Mario Party music, your least favorite music. And if you do like video game music, I've covered a lot of other games, you can see some on screen now. And if you made it to the end of this video, I think you'll really enjoy those. Come and join the Discord also if you want to talk more about Mario Party music. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.